Last year, my good friend Lewis invited me on a trip to Norway to stay with his uncle Nigel. After flying from London Stansted to Oslo, we boarded a train north to the small town of Stange, where our adventure would begin. Nigel welcomed us to his small holding and introduced me to his wife. This is where we'd be spending our first night before heading into the mountains. Alongside the farm, Nigel and his wife run a dog park and raise hunting dogs. Everywhere you looked there was something going on, yet the whole place still felt incredibly peaceful. Tucked away at the top of the hill of the farm sat a beautiful little guest cabin. Simple, warm and surrounded by nature, it was the perfect place to unwind after a long day of travelling. It had everything we needed for the night, and after an early start back in England, it didn't take long before we felt completely settled in. There was still plenty of daylight left, so I couldn't resist getting the drone up to explore the surrounding area. From above, the scale of the landscape really began to sink in. Endless forests stretched as far as the eye could see, broken only by the occasional lake or small clearing. One feature immediately caught my attention: an old lake hidden amongst the trees. It looked completely untouched, as though it had been quietly sitting there for decades, waiting to be discovered. As I explored a little further, I came across what was once the original cabin on the property. Standing amongst the trees, it had clearly been there for many years. The dark timber, traditional construction and simple design gave it a timeless feel, as though very little had changed over the decades. That evening, Nigel cooked Arctic char he'd caught a few weeks earlier. After good food, a couple of beers and plenty of stories, we called it a night. The next morning, we woke to the sound of sheep bells. With everything loaded, we set off towards the mountains, stopping along the way to take in more of Norway's incredible landscape. We stopped at several rivers on our way into the mountains. Some rewarded us with trout, others simply gave us an excuse to slow down and enjoy the landscape. Recent heavy rain had put colour into the rivers, but it didn't stop us enjoying every stop along the way. As the evening drew closer, we continued our journey north before finally arriving at the farm where we'd leave the truck behind. We were greeted by an incredible sunset, a fitting end to the drive and the beginning of the next stage of the adventure. From here, there were no more roads. Everything we'd need for the next 3 days would have to make its way up the mountain by quad. And then, finally, we arrived. High above the valley, completely surrounded by the Norwegian mountains, was the Nearly There cabin. After a good night's sleep, we woke to our first morning in the mountains. Ahead of us was a full day on foot, exploring a series of remote mountain lakes in search of wild brown trout. With miles of wilderness ahead, we packed our gear and set off. After a full day exploring the mountains, we eventually made our way back to the cabin. Tired, wet, ready to warm up, we hung our boots by the fire and settled in for the evening. Nigel cooked up moose burgers for dinner, and with a few beers and plenty of stories around the fire, it was the perfect end to an incredible day. Morning soon came around, and after breakfast we made our way back down the mountain. With another full day ahead of us, we headed out to explore some of the local rivers to try our luck once again for some wild brown trout. After another full day exploring the rivers, we made our way back up the mountain, once again with a little company along the way. Before heading back into the cabin, Nigel took us to a place he shares with everyone who comes to stay. Overlooking the valley, each visitor adds a stone to the stack, a small reminder of all the people who've stood here before us. Back at the cabin, we lit the fire and settled in for our final evening in the mountains. After 3 days of walking, fishing and exploring, none of us were quite ready for it to come to an end. The following morning, it was time to leave the Nearly There cabin behind. We packed up, made our way back down the mountain and returned to Nigel's farm before he dropped us back off to the train station for the journey home. We came to Norway hoping to explore new places and catch a few wild trout. But looking back, it wasn't the fishing I'll remember most. It was the people, the stories, the landscapes, and the experience of being welcomed into a completely different way of life.